So let's talk about for a second, a little bit nuts and bolts about, how the program works. I know we've done some big picture, but it starts off with 4 meetings in 60 days, if I get that right. And that's called Connect. Why don't we take some time to talk about Connect?
Yeah, every family starts the same way. So usually they're coming to us through, sometimes it's through an employer and we're working with, employees in a company, but the vast majority of the time it's coming from a wealth partner, an RIA, someone like yourself, Michael. We start with 4 private virtual workshops. That's with our advisor. And then with typically it's like the patriarch and the matriarch of the family. In those sessions, they're 90 minutes apiece. They're over about 60 days, but we just have tons of schedule flexibility. Like you do all your scheduling in our technology, as you know. Yep. And so there's lots of flexibility. We're trying to just meet families where they are, when they can do it. The first one is a get to know you, because you just have to do that. You can't jump into someone's life and try to pretend like what's going on. The second one, which you just had, I think was vision, where we talk about roles that people play. And we call it vision because it's really, really hard to just answer the question, what is the vision for my family? It's just a very complicated question. But when you break it down into roles and you're like, well, what is my vision for me as a dad? What does success look like as a dad? What does success look like as a son or daughter? It's a little simpler. It's like, you can kind of see it. The third one is values. So we sort of felt like we wanted to get this one in early because every, business in America, including us, has values. And I think families have intrinsic values, but they're not always written out to where they can, point and agree and talk. And then the last session we call roadmap, where we're exploring some big questions. We're doing a little bit of goal setting with the family, and we're setting the stage for the ongoing relationship, which is 4 meetings a year. If the families will have us, they'll stay with TFM and their advisor from now until, whenever we stop adding value. And I think that's the real difference in what we're trying to do here. It's not a program. There's no specific end date. If you only do 4 sessions with us, you're going to be better off. Yeah. If you stay with us for 10 years, you're also going to be better off. But just like you alluded to, staying in shape, that's just an ongoing battle, right? Being healthy is just like an ongoing battle. So there isn't really a point where you're like, my family is communicating perfectly. I've never heard that. So it's just constant work and not giving yourself a hard time, and just focusing on it for a period of time, which we hope is a long time. We hope to support families for a really long time.
Great. Katie, anything you want to add to the Connect process?
I would add, we talk, Alex just alluded to it a little bit, that they're called constant work problems. So you think about your health, your vitality, your relationships. An example I sometimes give is, if I said to my daughters, on Wednesdays, you can tell me about your day, then I can't really expect them to come to me if they have a problem, right? I have to constantly be finding ways to show up for them, particularly as teenage middle schoolers, right? So, and I would also say, to the point of, for work with us for as long as we had value, everyone in the family is constantly changing and evolving. And so that communication process continues to change, and you might need a completely different way to be successful. So the values exercise, the values workshop, is one that we envision families coming back to many, many times. How have they, or your vision, your roles, someday I will retire and that will be a main role for me. I won't be caring for my children in my home. So thinking about this as an evolution and not just work that I should do and then I'll be great, is a really healthy way to look at it, just like, your long-term fitness or health goals.
Yeah.
And there's also, just on the thought of a partner or a coach staying with you for a long period of time, we don't want to drop in and try to solve something and then leave. we're establishing a foundation with our families that when they encounter things, we can lean on. And we may have known the parents, or we may have understood this issue and that it was there for a long period of time. It's really hard to just swoop into a family, get a lay of the land of all the really complicated moving parts, and bring a solution to bear, because most of the time, like, people aren't really looking for a solution. They are looking for just help, like talking through it and getting through it and whatever. So I don't think you'll see a model like ours that is looking for a cost-effective way, because you alluded to like how expensive some of these other options are. So we needed it to work in the economic model of financial advisors so that we could stay with families for as long as possible.
It's interesting. No, let's talk about that.